16 partial prints on the bags from the Mulcahy murder and 3 from the Marrero case. These prints were of much better quality than the original ones. The new prints were entered into the National Fingerprint Database of known criminal offenders. Again, there were no matches. But Detective Kuhn also sent hard copies of the prints to each state, since not all states had put their prints into the nationwide database.
This was our last shot, and we felt that if we could reach out, that maybe they'd put that little extra effort into the submission.
The universe has a sense of humor, especially when it comes to cars. As soon as a warranty expires, things start to break and those repairs are no longer covered. CarShield picks up where your warranty leaves off, with service plans that cover expensive repairs, coverage that could save you thousands of dollars. They pay your favorite mechanic or dealership directly, making the entire process fast and easy. Get a free quote by calling 800-416-6522 or visit carshield.com.
When the fingerprints of the last call killer made it through the mail to latent print examiner Kim Stevens in Maine State Police Crime Lab, she was happy to help out. The state of Maine hadn't yet put all of their prints onto the National Fingerprint Database.
I received the prints in the mail with a cover letter, and I read the letter and the synopsis of the case.
Kim Stevens entered the last call killer's prints into Maine's state database.
I thought there's no way I would get a match. I had done a lot of searches for outside agencies, and the chances I thought would be very slim.
But the database of known criminal offenders in Maine turned up 30 possible matches.
So 30 prints came up in the list for me to look at one by one, side by side, to see if they could be the print.
For the side-by-side comparison, Stevens used the original hard copies made by the 30 criminals when they were arrested and inked by police. It's time-consuming and exhausting.
You want to do it when your eye is fresh and you're ready to make comparisons.
Then, Stevens found one that she thought matched.
Every time I went to the next ridge and found detail that agreed, obviously it was a surprise. I was jumping up and down for joy and couldn't believe it.
The final step is to have the match verified by another examiner. And that person agreed. The prints belonged to Richard Rogers, a former graduate student in languages at the University of Maine. In 1973, Rogers was charged with using a hammer to kill his college roommate. He wrapped the body in a plastic tent and left it on the side of the road.
Richard Rogers apparently said that the other man had approached him for sex and the other man attacked him, so in self-defense he attacked back and ended up killing him.
Mr. Rogers claimed self-defense and was acquitted. Amazing.
After he was acquitted, Rogers got a nursing degree and eventually moved to New York. At the time of the last call murders, Rogers had been working as a surgical assistant at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York. That's where police arrested him.
He was gay, didn't really seem to have any long-term relationships. In your wildest dreams, you would not look at Richard Rogers and say, this guy is a serial killer.
We learned that during the times of these murders, Richard Rogers had been off-duty.
Lisa Hall chose Rogers' picture from a photo lineup as the man she saw with Mike Sakara at the bar on the night Sakara was murdered.
I'm just so glad they got him before he could murder any other people.
Rogers lived in Staten Island, just blocks from the stores where the garbage bags and latex gloves were purchased.
Detectives searched Richard Rogers' apartment and they found an array of videotapes: Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He had a Bible in which there were earmarked passages referring to beheadings and dismemberments.
Also in Rogers' apartment they found a vial of a prescription drug used as a sedative. It's one that's not screened for in a routine autopsy.
You can use it as a date rape drug, or you can use it to knock people out.
Prosecutors believe Rogers would pick up his victims in gay bars. He targeted men who were drinking heavily. Rogers may have used a date rape drug and taken his victims back to his apartment, or they may have gone willingly. Once there, the evidence shows he stabbed them, then dismembered the bodies. He most likely moved the bodies to New Jersey at night to avoid detection. But even the most careful criminals make mistakes, and Rogers left evidence behind. The elaborate washing of the victims and the bags didn't remove everything. As for motive, Rogers wouldn't talk. All experts can say is that the murders had a clear sexual motivation.
It's the most bizarre case I've ever been involved with, and for all of these men, there was just no dignity in death.
In November of 2000, Rogers was tried and convicted of 2 of the murders, the cases where they had the most forensic evidence. He was sentenced to 2 life terms plus 65 years in prison.
We never gave up. You keep plugging along.
It never ceases to amaze me what we get in terms of forensics, whether it's fingerprints, DNA, any number of things. It's the most powerful tool you can have in a courtroom as a prosecutor.
It was pretty horrible to sit there and look at this man that actually murdered Michael Sequeira, and to think about all the other people that lost their lives and all their families and friends that lost people because of this monster who was sitting there, but at least he was finally put away.
The new CNN original series Diana introduces viewers to the person behind the princess and reveals a life more complicated and fascinating than the world knew. Diana, Sundays at 9 on CNN.